All right, welcome back. This is another episode of the Mansdem. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, and I say joined loosely because I'm actually at his house. And what you're going to come to know about this podcast is that pretty much the setting's pretty much going to be whose wife is in a better mood. So, with me today, Twitter handle Jesus Noir, my boy Henley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so we'll do like we've done with everybody else so far. I'm just going to have you break down the East and Western conferences. Which 8 teams you think will make the playoffs?
Yep.
Let us know the whys and who will be left out there, and we'll break down the top fours, top two, and then the finals.
Yeah.
All right. So as you know, I predicted the I believe it was the Bucks and Clippers in the finals with Kawhi winning back-to-back. I know that people are questioning my having the Raptors in the conference finals, and I get that. So
I might question it a little bit myself.
So that's fair. I put it out there to be questioned. So by all means, I also want to say this though before you get into your picks that I went into this cold. So everybody else has seen some teams play, and they have a little bit of extra knowledge now and a little bit of insight on how the season might go because of that. So please bear in mind when you hear my boys' picks and analysis, I went in cold. All right. So we'll start with the Western Conference. Who do you like coming out of the? Who do you like advancing into the playoffs?
Western Conference. I mean, obviously the Clippers. Clippers are a bona fide team. I mean, with the additions, with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. In addition to the guys that they've already had, I mean, Patrick Beverley's, I didn't really like his game before, but I mean, he's just such a pest. And I mean, I've seen him, he's got quite the evolution now. So he's kind of really showing up. And I mean, obviously with Lou Williams there as well, Montrezl Harrell, these guys, I mean, and with the addition of these two superstars they got now,
right?
I mean, that's an easy pick. I mean, they look like one of the strongest teams in the West for sure.
It's a hungry team, man, for sure.
Lakers finally getting AD. They manipulated and twisted all types of things in order to get AD.
A Rich Paul effect, man.
You know what? That's totally true. I mean, but they got a bona fide superstar. I mean, some people look at him as the top 5 player in the league, which
sure.
I mean, I would have to agree with that.
Stay healthy. He's money.
If he's healthy, and I mean, he has a goal of playing 82 games this year. I mean, I don't know if he's going to reach that goal, but I mean, if he gets relatively close to that, then I mean, Lakers team is a force for sure.
Okay.
Who else? I mean, Portland showed last year that they can really. I mean, Dame Dollar, man, he can do his thing.
He's literally money. Yeah,
he's literally money. Exactly. I mean, so he's definitely he's coming out. I mean, and they looked like a team that was kind of really snake bitten in the playoffs before, but now it's with their kind of breakout from last year, they're really showing a lot more. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to say that they're going to do as well this year, but I mean, I definitely think they're a playoff team. I don't think there's any question about that whatsoever.
I think they're over the hump of that first round exit thing.
Yeah, I think they're over that for sure. Denver Nuggets are a team that's really strong. I mean, I thought they should have advanced a little bit further than they did last year, but they've really, I mean, they got a really good core of players that have really kind of helped them to turn the corner and make them one of the contenders.
They ran into Dame Dollar, man.
You know what? But and they, if I remember correctly, they barely lost that series.
So great game 7, yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things that maybe a little turn here or there that could really help them out. So I mean, I think that they're one of the top teams in the West for sure.
Okay.
Who else? One of the dark horse teams actually I like is Dallas.
Gotta like Dallas. I do.
Dallas. I mean, Doncic showed last year that he can really ball.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's already showing that there's no slowdown whatsoever.
He's not afraid, man.
He is not afraid
of the moment. He's not afraid of any players. He's in it. He's a baller.
He is a baller. He is definitely a baller. I mean, he played professionally in Europe before, so he came in. He didn't come in as like a typical type of rookie. He came in with experience and knowing how to play with men.
Yep.
Exactly. So he knows what he's doing out there. And I mean, the addition of Porzingis, obviously, the unicorn. I mean, that's just. I mean, these guys look like they got chemistry going.
Magical,
right now.
Man. Yeah, for sure.
So so for them too, I think people might not be expecting as much from that team. And I mean, I got them as probably a lower seed, but I think that they are actually a really solid team. And I mean, a few things bounce for them here and there. They might surprise some people.
Yeah, so. I think they have a chance. I don't think they're going to get it, but I think they really have a legitimate chance. Like, they might lose out on the last day, for example. Like, I think they have a legitimate chance of making a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not crazy at all.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not crazy. Of course, one team I didn't mention yet, but I'll mention it now. I mean, the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got some serious talent. I mean,
They had firepower.
A lot of people think that they can't, that their chemistry is not going to be as good with Harden and Westbrook,
Mm-hmm.
but these guys are two really bona fide scorers, and they're really great players individually. And I think that they know it's kind of getting close to their last chance to really have an impact and to win a title.
They'll both be out of excuses at the end of the season.
Exactly. I mean, their windows are maybe not closing, but kind of they're getting closer to the point where, like, if they don't win a title now, then it looks like they may never win one.
Right.
So I look at them as a team that's potentially going to really they'll make concessions between the two of them, and obviously they like each other. They're really friends. They request to play with each other.
Right.
So they kind of so they know kind of what they have to do. I mean, with D'Antoni's offense as well, he likes to have he's all about volume shooting. So he likes to have a lot of possessions. So there's definitely going to be a lot of possessions going around for them.
Those three of them should get along then, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're,
right.
Houston's like I said, Houston's one of those teams that's really good, I think, as well. Another team that I think that's kind of a dark horse, and I mean, it's kind of weird to think about them as dark horse, but Golden State.
I know. I almost left them off my 8 because I forgot about them, but go ahead.
Golden State's, I mean, they are still a team that's got some talent. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've been a bit of a transition. They've lost some of their role players that they've had, some of the key role players, but they still have Steph Curry. He can still score. I mean, still Draymond Green, who's a stat stuffer.
Yeah.
So these guys, I think that Golden State, they're definitely going to be a lower seed, I think, in my opinion. I mean, I'm looking at anywhere between 6, 7, and 8 seed, but I definitely feel like they're going to make the playoffs, and I actually feel like Klay Thompson is probably, I know no matter what Steve Kerr says, they are probably going to he's probably going to play at some point in time
I think so
this season. Maybe not February, but maybe like March, April type of thing. And I think that type of thing, as long as Golden State can stay afloat, which I believe that they can, because I do still believe that they have enough talent to kind of stay afloat.
Right.
Once Klay Thompson comes back and kind of gets back in the groove, I think that's really going to be a really good addition, a really good boost for them.
Okay.
So I think I like Golden State in there as well. Who am I missing? One other team. Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Adding Mike Conley.
He made a lot
Mike Conley is you know what? Mike Conley, one of the like almost criminally underrated guys in the league. I mean, he's never made an All-Star team because there's always been other point guards who are
in the West
just a little bit better than him or whatever. Yeah. But everybody kind of acknowledges he's probably the best player who hasn't made an All-Star team,
right?
At least in the Western Conference. And so his addition to Utah is going to make a really good team that much stronger. So I feel like that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been a Mike Conley fan since basically since he came into the league. Like I said, I think he's a really strong player. So his addition to the Jazz, I think that's definitely going to have them probably as a higher seed. I'm thinking probably in the top 4 seeds for them.
Agreed.
So I mean, I would say probably the seeds you're looking at: Clippers 1, Lakers 2, Rockets 3, Jazz 4.
Okay.
The rest of the teams, I mean, I think that can be jumbled up. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with them.
Right.
But as typically with basketball, I think that all the top 4 seeds are going to advance. So I don't necessarily need to talk about the lower seeds because I don't expect that they're going to get past them. I mean, it'll be a good year for them to get into the playoffs, maybe go a few games, take these teams to deep into the first round.
Right.
But I don't expect any
a lot of good
seeds.
series, but nothing unexpected to happen, like no upsets.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
The only potential upset might be Portland if Dame Dalla can find something and just hit those shots like he does, right? Then that might be it.
Just if they keep them in the game, you could have a problem at the end of their game. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But so looking at Clippers 1, Lakers 2, Rockets 3, Jazz 4.
Right.
So that would have the Clippers and the Jazz facing each other. I mean, the Clippers just they look so strong.
They do. Without Paul George.
Without Paul George
right now.
So there's no way that I can look at I didn't say the Jazz are going to beat them. So
okay.
I think that the Clippers will advance at least to the Western Conference Final.
All right.
Lakers as well. I think Lakers and Rockets is a little bit different. I mean, Lakers are trying this thing with LeBron's going to be the point guard. The offense is going to go through AD. We'll see how long that's going to last, if that's going to work.
As soon as something isn't working, they're switching back to what they normally do, and it's going to be going through LeBron heavy. So we'll see.
And I mean, I don't. The thing is, I don't know if how much I believe in Frank Vogel as a coach. I think he's a really good coach,
Yeah.
but I don't know that he's going to have the playoff success. But then again, D'Antoni has never taken a team to the finals, and he's been on like 3-4 teams, and he had some really good Phoenix Suns teams back in the day. He never could ever take them to the finals. So I don't know that like a D'Antoni team can play enough defense in order to be able to get that team over the hump. So if you were to ask me, put the gun to my head, then I would say that I think the Lakers will beat the Rockets, probably in 7 games, but I do think the Lakers would advance.
Okay.
And that would make it an all LA Western Conference final.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go against the norm, and I'm going to say that I think the Lakers are going to actually beat them.
Okay.
You know what?
Okay.
I feel like LeBron's hungry. I feel like AD is definitely hungry.
Okay.
I'm not as sold on Paul George, playoff P. I'm not as sold on the playoff P.
He named himself.
No, he gave himself his own nickname, right? So I don't know if I can rate him on that, right? If the commentators had said to him, absolutely playoff P, then I'll be like, because he hits money shots.
Right.
You can't come into the thing saying I'm playoff P or whatever.
You
can't do that. No, that has to be earned.
That's unfortunate. All right, so we got the Lakers going through to the final. Now we'll break down the East. Who's going to meet them there after you will tell us your top 8 and so on.
So in the East, I mean, Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, they're obviously they were the best team in the Eastern Conference by record in the regular season last year.
Yep.
I haven't seen a lot of degradation on that side. I mean, losing Malcolm Brogdon, I thought was huge. He's like a 50, 40, 90 guy, right? I mean, like him and Steph Curry are the only guys.
Yeah.
So losing him, I think, is going to hurt them for sure.
Mm-hmm. But plus, he plays defense.
As well.
Big guard.
He's a solid. He's a solid guy. I'm surprised that they would let him go. Maybe he just wanted to leave or whatever. I don't know.
Hey,
but to let him go,
offer, man. They went to Indiana went big on the qualifying offer, man. They dared them. So this is what you guys want to do. You got to wreck your cap space for that. So
Indiana was smart because they identified a guy that they liked and they said, you know what, we're going to take him. I mean, it helps them obviously, but then it hurts the top team in the.
But think how big it really is because they also lost Corey Joseph in free agency and Carlson retired. Right, so I mean, they had that. That was a mandatory pickup. Anyway, that's Milwaukee. Who you got next?
With Philadelphia is obviously the like one of those teams that everybody's talking about. Philadelphia, they're kind of interesting because they were really good last year. I mean, obviously they took Toronto to 7 games.
Yep.
I mean, we'll bounce here and there. Obviously, if it took 4 bounces basically to beat them.
Yeah.
But if they have a solid team. I think Milwaukee's going to be the number 1 seed, and they'll probably be number 2, mostly because Joel Embiid. I don't expect him to. I mean, he's definitely not going to play 82. He's gonna have a lot of.
He's missing tonight's game.
Exactly. So I mean, he's going to miss a certain amount of games. It's gonna hurt them as far as their overall record in the regular season. So that's why I have them as a number 2 seed. Okay. But they are a solid team. But I think people are underrating the loss of Jimmy Butler.
I think so too.
When they played against the Raptors last year in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler was the guy that kind of pretty much pulled them up by the bootstraps and and did things. I mean, and so he's one of the great players in the league. I think like great 2-way players in the league for sure right now. I mean, he's got that killer mentality, which is very rare.
He does
that. So his loss, I think, is going to be hurt, or they're going to feel it for sure, Philadelphia. But the addition of Horford, obviously, is a good one. I mean, I look at Boston last year, and I mean, and they had Horford on the team.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a really good player.
He is.
But then I'm wondering if he's a little bit overrated.
Right. I don't think he offsets the loss of Jimmy Butler.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think he's kind of. I mean, as much as I like him as a player, I think he's a really good team guy. Everybody seems to like him. But I think that he's a little bit overrated because when Boston had all their issues last year, they didn't go as far as they did the previous year. They kind of put all the blame on Kyrie Irving, which I think was not true or not fair. And I mean, why didn't certain guys like Al Horford or other guys? I mean, because Al Horford really liked him like that. I mean,
he was the vet, right? So the ship.
So I mean, things like that maybe they might come back and affect him when he's in Philadelphia. I'm not sure. I mean, so maybe he doesn't show it as well as he did it when he was in Boston during those years. And he's getting older, so I mean, he's not going to be as good or as effective, I don't think.
Right, exactly.
But I still like the addition. I think he's a long defender. I mean, part of what people talk about with Philadelphia is their length. I mean, they're going to be people are already talking about them as potentially one of the great defensive teams. I mean,
really?
they're comparing them to like the 2003, 2004 Pistons, which was like ridiculously
next level stuff.
One of the best defensive teams. So
yeah.
Philadelphia number 2. Boston, I think, probably is number 3.
Okay.
You know what? I like the addition of Kemba Walker.
Yeah, me too.
Kemba Walker is, I think, another one of those guys who I don't know if I call him underrated because he made third team All NBA last year. So I mean, he's
Tough
kind of
time,
so he's kind of, I mean, especially on a team like Charlotte, which is terrible. Like, I mean, that's where veteran players go basically to die.
It's true.
So I mean,
Yeah.
but he kind of still made his mark on a team like that enough that people would actually know and would vote him onto that team.
For sure.
So that I think that shows well for him. I think that's going to make him look that he's going to really be a good addition to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Kyrie Irving last year, as good as Kyrie Irving is, he had too much on his plate as far as trying to be a leader, and then when he had some missteps, then he had to correct those missteps, and it just kind of I think it was just end up being too much for him.
Yeah.
I think with Kemba Walker it'll be different. He'll really end up not having to carry such of a load as far as the leadership goes, and so that will allow him to play a little bit freer. He'll be playing on a team that's actually got playoff aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that will help him out to be better and to actually show more of his skills and to show a little bit more of his leadership and then and the fact that he can actually play on a team that is actually going somewhere
with expectations. Yes,
exactly. Team with expectations, exactly. So I mean, I like Boston to potentially be number 3 seed.
Okay.
Toronto, I think, is probably number 4. Pascal Siakam has played really well in the 2 games that they played this year so far. He's got over 30 points in both of those games. Clearly, I don't think that he's going to be a 30-point scorer
no,
in the league.
Of course not.
But he's definitely proving to me more, at least in those first 2 games, more than what I expected that he's going to do with being the man. So he's doing quite well with them. But it's still very difficult to. I don't care what team. When your team loses your best player, it is tough to recover from that and to actually rate them as a team that you would expect to come out of the East. So that's why I can't really rate them any higher than number 4 seed.
Okay.
And I mean, also you look at guys like Lowry's getting older. He's the last couple of years for sure. He's tended to get a lot of injuries and miss a lot of time. So that's going to definitely hurt them as far as seeding goes. So I think that his durability is going to definitely be a key factor in the Raptors and how they're going to actually to finish. And there's low expectations on the Raptors this year with losing Kawhi. So I mean, I don't know that they're even going to be trying to chase that really high seed. I think that as long as they get home court in the first round, I think that's probably what they're going to be along with that. So I think that that's where they're probably going to go with that.
Okay.
And I think that they're probably going to face Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to be the number 5.
Okay.
So speaking of Kyrie Irving has this is the first time in Kyrie Irving's career where he's actually going to get a chance to play where he wants to play, because he got drafted by Cleveland and he got traded to Boston. Yeah. So now he chose to go to Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. It's his pseudo hometown or whatever. I think he's actually really from New Jersey. People have called it saying it's his hometown. Whatever, that's fine. I guess it's all more or less related. I mean, people who can't afford to live in New York live in New Jersey. I guess it's the same thing. Whatever. But I mean, he chose to be out there. I think there's not as many expectations on them this year because obviously with Kevin Durant out, so it's going to allow him to be a little bit freer. I think he's not hopefully he won't be carrying as much of a leadership burden. I mean, still a bit of a leadership factor for him, but not as much as with Boston, because Boston was looked at as a team that was potentially going to go to the finals.
To win. Again, it's the reverse of what Kemba's dealing with now. Kemba's now on a team that's expected to win, whereas Kyrie's on a team that's not expected to win. If they win, it's a bonus because you're getting Kevin Durant back next year.
Exactly.
But he's just like, listen, we're going to ball out. Whatever happens, happens. And that's the same situation they were in last year.
Exactly.
Right? So he's in a great situation to just ball out without that heavy expectation. And maybe it works out for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I mean, and Kyrie, you know what? Kyrie Irving, he's so maligned in the league. But man, when you actually watch him, you don't have to actually listen to him, but just actually watching him, he is such a fantastic player.
He is,
and I think that now with being in a place where he wants to be, and like again with not as much expectations, I think he's going to be free, and you're really going to see a really strong Kyrie Irving this year. I think he's that good that he's going to bounce back from whatever it is you thought he was last year that was disappointing or whatever. Yeah. I think he's going to definitely bounce back from that.
All right. Who else you got then?
Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Malcolm Brogdon his addition.
Mm-hmm.
When Victor Oladipo gets back, which I thought he was going to be back already at the beginning of the season, but I guess I have no idea when he's coming back. But when he comes
I know
back,
he's getting close, so hopefully not out too much longer though.
Man, I feel bad for him, but because I like him as a player, I think just one of those guys that I really like watching, and I think he's really made a good career for himself so far. I mean,
yeah, because I wasn't sold on him in Orlando.
Yeah, same with me.
He got to Indiana and it's just like, he flipped the switch.
Yeah.
And now he's this guy. He's just a dominant guy. He can close at the end of the game. His range has expanded so much. He's got all the tools, man.
It's like him in Indiana are just a perfect match.
Right.
Whereas him in Orlando was kind of like trying to fit a round peg.
Yeah, they're trying to make him a dunker.
Yeah.
They're focusing on him making a dunker. And it's like, but that's not your game.
Yeah, exactly. So, I definitely like Indiana, I think. And I mean, I think it's Nate McMillan as a coach out there, and I mean, I like him as a coach. I've always liked him. I think he knows how to get the most out of his teams.
Right.
So I think that makes Indiana a good playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Also Miami, Eric Spoelstra just, I mean, before when he had the Heatles or whatever you want to call them.
Oh my God, yeah.
People didn't really.
It's hard to respect him on that one, though, right?
His coaching ability was definitely underappreciated. But now when you see that he's got these teams without these major superstars, and he can actually get these teams to play really well, get them in the playoffs, you're really seeing what he can do. So that's really showing that he can actually coach, and he's not just some guy who could just coach superstars like other coaches who I won't name here, but he can actually coach scrub players as well and make them really good.
Right. All right. Cool. You got out to Miami.
Last team in there, I think, is Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know that I like Detroit all that much. It's just really in absence of other teams that I think are actually any good. I think. But I mean, Blake Griffin's already hurt though. So it's like it's. I mean, is he?
And Reggie Jackson is due to miss 20 games at least.
Yeah. And I'm not even sold on Reggie Jackson. I just don't even. I mean, I think he's okay, but he's more of a placeholder guy to me. That kind of guy that you get until you get somebody who's actually going to be the point guard or whatever that you want.
You know what? Derrick Rose is there right now.
Yeah. But is he that dude on every night?
I think he's going to be more of a dude than Reggie Jackson every night.
Yeah, but is that saying much?
It's saying enough. It's saying enough to have him take over that starting job because Dwayne Casey, he knows he's got to win.
Yeah,
he's got to win, and if you're saying he's getting the 8th spot, that's not job security for him.
No, that's definitely not.
So if Rose is going to be putting up numbers, if Derrick Rose is going to be putting up numbers that suggest the team can be better with him, he will be starting.
Yeah, for sure. But Dwayne Casey, obviously, we know from his Toronto days.
Mm-hmm.
He can coach. I mean, I believe was it Minnesota he coached as well. I mean,
he did.
I think he got canned there probably unfairly because that team was just
he was just starting to win again. Yeah,
that team was mismanaged. I think Dwayne Casey, he's obviously shown he can coach.
Yeah.
So I think that the Detroit team is definitely going to be in the playoffs, and that and I think it's going to be just enough job security for him because I don't like their roster really all that much.
It's not that great of a roster.
It's not that great of a roster, and but I think he'll do enough to get them in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're not going to advance, but they'll get in the playoffs.
Right. All right. So who you got in the top 4?
Top 4: Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, Toronto.
All right. So we'll leave it as is. All right.
So yeah, and I mean Milwaukee. I mean with basketball, it's so predictable that the top 4 seeds. I expect that they're going to go through.
Right.
The only exception might be Brooklyn and Toronto because of 4 or 5. But I don't expect that Brooklyn would actually beat Toronto. I think that Toronto will beat them in the first round series. So I think that Toronto's going to advance. Toronto's going to face Milwaukee, and I believe Milwaukee's going to get their revenge on them.
All right.
I believe that Milwaukee is going to advance to the Eastern Conference Final, and Philadelphia is just too strong to that Boston will not have a chance against them. That series won't even be that long, in my opinion. Actually, I think Philadelphia is just too good. And
Boston doesn't have Horford this time to slow down Embiid. So
exactly.
There goes their secret weapon,
I look at Philadelphia as a strong team. To definitely going to go to the Eastern Conference Final.
All right, so
Milwaukee, Milwaukee and Philadelphia, and I look at I think Milwaukee is going to figure it out, and I think they're going to get all the way to the finals. I think that's how I see the Eastern Conference shaping up because I believe that. I mean, it's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to go 7 games, and I think it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. There's going to be a lot of physical play. I mean,
definitely.
Philadelphia is as great as they are defensively. Milwaukee is probably just as good defensively. I mean, at least they showed that last year, and I think that they're gonna show that again this year. I mean, the addition of guys like Wes Matthews is going to definitely help them. So I think they're going to be able to edge out the Sixers.
All right, so we got the Greek Freak against King James. First of all, who has home court in that series, and then who takes home the LOB?
I think that Milwaukee is going to have home court in that because I think that Milwaukee. That's one of those things that Milwaukee and Coach Bud tends to play for. So I think that Milwaukee's going to have home court in that series. But I mean, as much as I'd love to see the Greek Freak win a title, I actually think that LeBron James and the Lakers are going to win this title. I think.
All right.
I mean, I look at it as like the AD definitely motivated, and he's just so strong. To have basically two top 5 superstars in LeBron James and Anthony Davis going against really just one, even if you think that Giannis is a better player than either of them right now individually, them two against him as one, he doesn't really have a running mate of that on that level to be able to dish off to or to defer to. So I think that the Lakers are actually going to win the title.
Yeah, and I think in that particular matchup, I think Milwaukee shrinks under the pressure. Yeah, like Giannis might show up and have a good series, but I don't think the rest of his guys are gonna be there for him. So I think that series would probably go towards the Lakers.
Yeah, guys like Eric Bledsoe kind of have a bit of a history of not playing well in the playoffs, and I think that's going to definitely be a factor. Chris Middleton, I think he's been all right. He's really good player, but he's not on that level to really kind of turn the tide of a series like that. So, like I said, I definitely think the Lakers are going to beat Milwaukee in the finals.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it. Once again, I'd like to thank my boy Jesus Noir on Twitter. Henley, thanks for having me come through.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, forward on, all that good stuff. See you next time on the Mansdem. Peace out.